What goes on, motherfuckers? Welcome back to this motherfucker ship. Special shout out to Only One Kenobi. Brother, what's going on? Drop another comment. Let's see what's going on. Anyway, hey, this episode of What the Fuck is brought to you by, of course, forever and always, Copenhagen Snuff since 1822. It satisfies. That's how a real fucking man packs his dip. All you fucking wannabe cowboys with your fucking limp finger. We all know you're just trying to be fucking cool. A little bit of on the sawdust. What's happening? This episode is also brought to you by the #1 space bandito, Rolando Flores! Motherfucker, what's happening? Our lovely friend Rolando sent this to me quite a while ago. It's been sitting on the shelf waiting for... Shut the fuck up! God damn. I live on a fucking racetrack, apparently. Motherfuckers. Anyway, dig this. Defenders of the Earth. Defenders of the Earth. Doesn't it sound like that's a song that Jack Black wrote? I've said that before. But nobody remembers the theme song, or nobody's ever heard Jack Black sing. But that's exactly what every fucking thing he ever fucking wrote sounds like. Thank you! Anyway, mandrake! This is from the Defenders of the Earth line. Not to be confused with the original Superheroes line. Which also does include, I believe, Ming, the Phantom, and Flash. But it does not have Mandrake and Lothar. Here's the back of the box. Of course, this is the Lothar from Defenders of the Earth. Back of the box here. Dig it. Very cool, very cool. Cool. Thank you, Rolando. I looked for one of these for a long time. I have never fucking seen this figure. Still have not seen this motherfucker. But here he is. So thank you, Rolando. Now look, the whole reason that all this started coming about was because of this custom Lothar. Shout out to Bill over at Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. As he, we discussed the olden days quite a bit. So dig that. This is my custom Lothar, who of course Lothar was Mandrake's sidekick. His does anybody remember the fucking TV show Yancey Derringer? Anybody remember that? Well, if you do, you will recognize that this is Mandrake's Pahu. All of us superheroes and generals, we all have a Pahu of our own. And without them, we can't get our job done. So to all you sidekicks out there, to all you Pahus, the world don't turn without you, motherfucker. We appreciate you. Smiley Burdette. Anybody know who fucking Smiley Burdette was? No, you probably don't. But you'll look it up. Anyway, so you have to have a Lothar with your Mandrake, but you need a goddamn real Lothar from the original OG 1930s fucking comic strip. Alright, so here's our Lothar. Let's set him back up there. We're gonna open this. We're gonna open this fella. And you know what? The first thing I want to do, though, I made a couple notes about Mandrake, just to give some context. Shout out to Keep On Collecting. Both of y'all are big fans of the knowledge. We got the knowledge. We got the power. Yeah. That's how it is. We also have the tools, but it's off screen. Anyway, so look, Lee Falk, all of our favorite, he invented Mandrake in 1934. Okay. To some standards, you can read in some places that people think Mandrake is the original superhero. But I think that we can all concede that the Phantom, who I believe is 1930, came out in 36. This is the original superhero in the context of that he has the superhero costume. You cannot see his eyes. His eyes are white. That kind of what we as modern people call our superhero, right? I would say that if Mandrake is considered a superhero, then John Carter from Mars is a superhero, which would then predate Mandrake. And there's quite a few other people. Gosh, there's quite a few other people you could think of that could be considered a superhuman if you want to go into those. I mean, even into ancient times, So that's a discussion. If you want to consider Mandrake the first superhero, I think you're just opening a can of fucking worms. Superheroes in this generation, in what we call superheroes, they have white fucking eyes and they got spandex fucking suits. And so that's the Phantom. But before Lee Falk ever invented the Phantom, he invented Mandrake, the magician. Now, Mandrake the magician, he is a magician. He holds his hat and his cane and his cloak were passed down from his father, and they hold magical powers that Mandrake does have to learn and manifest how to use them. There's some other, magical, storylines where, sometimes the wand or whatever has power, but sometimes the person's manifesting it through the wand, But part of Mandrake's natural ability is that he has some sort of enchanted hat, and I don't know why the hat and the fucking cloak would be enchanted. But I could definitely see that maybe the cane, the crystal on top of the cane would be enchanted. Not really sure why there was magic in the old silk top hat they found. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so I got a couple notes here because there's a lot of information. Some of this stuff I read recently that I've just learned. So that's why some of these are on the notes. So Mandrake, he lives in a mansion called Xanadu on the top of some fucking mountain in upstate New York. There he does live with his right-hand man, Lothar, who is considered the strongest man on Earth. He also lives there with a ex-professional sumo wrestler named Hojo, who is his cook and the chief of his internal affairs spy network. A quick rendition, synopsis on Lothar. Mandrake but ran into Lothar on a trip to Africa. Lothar was to be the chief of what they called the Seven Nations, which was a confederation of jungle tribes in the interior of Africa. And Lothar decided that he should follow Mandrake to learn more about the world and about the kind of magic that Mandrake possesses. Lothar is considered to be the strongest man in the world, except for Hojo. And Lothar and Hojo both know that Hojo is stronger, but Hojo's a very humble person and never questions that Lothar is really the strongest man in the world. Lothar is also impervious to any kind of man-made weapon. Bullets bounce off of him. He's also impervious to most all magics. As there's been plenty of witch doctor spells put on him and stuff, and they just don't fucking work on him because he's got the fucking power of Mother Earth, is how I look at it, I guess. Lothar traditionally wore a fez. He wore short pants and a leopard skin top. When the original strip was put down and then it was revamped in the 60s, Lothar started wearing, much more stylish, almost 70s style clothes. But he did maintain his leopard skin shirt most of the time. He also wore a red fez, which I'm still looking for the perfect... That motherfucker will have a fez here before long. Anyway, some of the notable enemies that Mandrake had. In 1937, he fought a man called... And shout out to Rebels, Reptiles, and Games. This might be interesting to you. But in 1937, we saw the first supervillain called the Cobra! Yeah, Mandrake the Magician. He fought the Cobra in 1937. It appeared that he defeated him, but the Cobra returned in a 1965 strip, donning a silver mask. So now we have like a Cobra and fucking Destro fucking mashup here to make the Cobra. Now, I think the Cobra was well, at some point he had facial reconstructive surgery, so he removed his silver mask. I think it was found out to be that the Cobra was actually a half-brother of Mandrake's. Mandrake had a lot of fucking evil twins, and, and he had evil twins in another universe. He had evil twins here. This motherfucker's mom was fucking busy, and his dad, too, because he has a lot of the half-brothers, of course, they share the same father. I don't think we ever really get to know Mandrake's mother, but she apparently was fucking busy and spits out twins like nobody's fucking business. So that's cool. Some of the other notable enemies that there was one, Derek, who was one of Mandrake's first twins that we saw. Also, there was a master of disguise that he battled called the Clay Camel. And of course, he left a small calling card of a clay camel everywhere he did his evil bidding. The Clay Camel was, later on, the Clay Camel, we were introduced to his daughter, the Brass Monkey. How can you fucking dislike fucking bad guys like that? You know what I'm saying? The Clay Camel and the Brass Monkey? That's awesome. That's awesome. Also, now going into like actual Defenders of the Earth, lore, one of the big crime syndicates that Mandrake fought before he was ever introduced into the Defenders of the Earth team was a crime organization known as 8. And, we can see the organization 8 come across in quite a few different stories, whether it's Mandrake or Defenders of the Earth, or, I believe there was even a G.I. Joe where there was a subsidiary Cobra, corporation that was called 8, or it was called Octo or something, but that was 8. Also, 8 later on was found in Defenders of the Earth, I believe. 8 was outed as a subsidiary of Cobra, but the funding was coming from Ming, the Merciless. So there's a huge crossover, anywhere from, Defenders of the Earth, I think, brought it all together. I have to rewatch it, because I missed a little bit of them, but fucking cool. Defenders of the Earth. Anyway, Ed, Rebels, Reptiles, and Games, I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe we could look more into that. The Cobra, turning into the leader of an organization called 8, which then somehow pairs with Cobra, which is all funded by Ming the Merciless. So, talk about the fucking multiverse, right? We complain now about shit like that, but they knew how to fucking do it back then, I guess. There was, the original comic strip, I believe, ran from, 34. It started in 34. It dropped off. It came back in the 60s. In other medias, there was a 1939 film. There was a radio serial from 1940 to 1942. There was published books in the years of 1935, 1939, 1942, and 1946. One of the most interesting facts that I found recently, I think actually earlier today, in 1954 there was a pilot episode shot for a series Mandrake, and the coolest part about this, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Woody Strode. He was a professional football player, American football, in the 50s and 60s, and then in the 60s he retired and he became a cowboy actor. And I think most people have probably seen, I know I'm really the only dyed-in-the-wool Western fan, but I think most people watching has probably seen The Way the West Was Won, with Charles Bronson when he plays the harmonica, right? In the very beginning of that movie, when Charles Bronson steps off the stage and those 3 bad motherfuckers are waiting for him, the one black guy with the big fucking cool black hat, that's Woody Strode. And he's one of my favorite fucking cowboy actors. If you're a John Wayne fan, Woody Strode was Pompey in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Of course, John Wayne characters, Pahu. Am I right? Am I right? Anyway, I have always been a fan of pop culture from the 1900s to the 1940s. That's like, I don't know if it's because my parents are fucking old or because my grandparents are even old. You know what I mean? My parents are the same age as most of my viewers' grandparents. You know? Most people's great-grandparents fought in World War II. My grandparents fought in World War II, right? Most people's grandfather is a Vietnam vet. My father's a Vietnam vet. So I'm a generation off from most people my age, even though I'm on the, you know, whatever end you call it. I am from a generation that has now been lost to time called Generation Y. And I just want to put that out there publicly. After Generation X was Generation Y. There was no such word as fucking millennial until the year 2000. And that is not a fucking generation. And if it is, it starts in the year 2000. And everybody can fucking cite Wikipedia or Google. And all I say is that if that's your fucking source, that's kind of fucking ignorant. You know? Nowhere in the history of time, from now till forever, should anybody say, well, I read it on fucking Google. Okay? If you weren't fucking there, then I probably don't believe you. I'm sorry. But, anyway, that's more of a sociological fucking problem, I guess. Man, let's break into this pig. Did I get through all the... I did want to, Oh, you know, there was a... Has anybody heard of the Man Who Hated Laughter, 1972? That's very familiar to me. I do not believe it refers to the fucking Joker, you know, millennials. But that's also a mandrake. A mandrake form of media. The Man Who Hated Laughter, 1972. Anyway, all the history aside and the love, Rolando, fucking A, brother, this is cool. Let's open this, because I want to see Mandrake. Let's open this right now. Boom! No, that's not how we open things. That's sometimes how we open things. That's how we'll end the show. So, anyway, yeah, this is a Neca product, right? Yeah, this is a... Man, I like Neca. I like Neca. Neca, if you're out there, I'll stock the fucking shelves at my local place. Come on, man. What the fuck, Neca? So let's dig this, man. We probably aren't going to pull out all the accessories. You know, as people have seen, everybody knows what a fucking hand looks like. But let's see what goes on. Let's see what goes on here, natives. Shout out to Only One Kenobi. I'm going to come over later. First time, what's up, baby? Here's the cane. Whoa, that's kind of cool, huh? It's kind of cool. It's very rigid. Yeah! Mark, Blue Harvest Mark, you son of a bitch. I know that you laughed at that. All right, let's see what goes on here. I have to say, this figure, I have the Phantom. I actually have one opened and one boxed. Because I fucking think the Phantom's cool as fuck. Where's me blade? Where's me blade? Where's me blade? How is everybody doing? Maybe this... We need a knife, motherfuckers. I'm not cutting the video. The only thing that could possibly happen is we run out of fucking tape. Let's see. Let's get medieval with this motherfucker here. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. All right. Again, I'm not really sure why we're fucking vacuum sealing them and fucking tying them down. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous, you guys. Hold on, I gotta get a blade. This is terrible. There we go. Nope, that's not working. There we go. Fucking knives in every drawer except the one I fucking look in, eh? Alright, let's be very careful not to fucking fuck this up, because they got the other figure I opened the other day had a very different type of band on it, and it was perfect for just popping off with the finger, you know what I mean? This is ridiculous. Alright, sweet. We'll have a quick look at this guy if we can get him out, man. The vac, goddamn, Neca. What the fuck, you guys? Alright! We are live with Mandrake. With his snappy fucking spats on his shoes. Those are not actually spats, I guess. Those are just fucking made to look. They're not fucking wingtips either. I mean, they're I don't know. They're supposed to be spats, but they're done wrong. Spats go up here. Spats go up there. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's like a reverse wingtip. I don't know what the fuck that is. But, man, how about that Mandrake? And he's got arms for punching right now. Does anybody have this figure? I imagine that this one didn't, you know, Defenders of the Earth ran what? Like, just not very long. And, you know, certainly The Flash and the Phantom were like the winners of that show. You know, I imagine they were only selling Mandrake to, you know, old dudes like me and Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure Bill. You know what I mean? Woo! The two Bills. We're gonna have a gang together, like the James gang. But yeah, look at Mandrake. He's got a cool, shiny, like, I don't know. You see that, like, glittery overtone on the paint? That's kind of cool. I didn't notice that in the package at all. Alright, that's very cool. As a side note, I do want to say that there was a actual magician in the 30s. And, oh gosh, I cannot remember his name now. But anyway, if you look up Mandrake, well, Leon, that was his name. If you look up Leon Mandrake, 1911 to 1993, he was a performer before this character came out. And then the Lee Folk did, I guess it's kind of muddled, you know. It seems that Mandrake was not his last name, but we're not sure, or I'm not sure, if he changed his name to Mandrake for the show, or if this, or the comic, or if this comic, you know, it's kind of said that Lee Folk kind of stylized this character after him. The actual magician does predate, you know, the invention of this character by at least 10 years, professionally. And he, of course, the actual Leon Mandrake was known for his top hat and his pencil mustache. Also, there were, in the show, or in the comic strip, you know, Mandrake, he had, Nardia was one of his assistants. The actual Leon Mandrake, his first wife, was named Nardia. There was also another assistant later that had the same name as someone in the comic strip. So we'll look into that maybe a little bit more. That was something I didn't know, but apparently this is modeled after an actual fucking magician. Leon Mandrake, born 1911, passed away in 1993. So how cool would it have been to fucking know that and get a damn, you know, Leon Mandrake autograph on a, of course you wouldn't have gotten on this because it didn't exist, but I wonder, I'm sure by 1993 there was a Mandrake figure somewhere that he could have signed for somebody. I always think about, you know, I was on my quick autograph story. I was driving to the residence of one Mr. Bo Diddley. And I was gonna I heard he was a cool guy and he didn't live in a mansion with a lock gate, and I was gonna go knock on his door and I wanted to talk to the man. Because I loved him. I loved Bo Diddley. My father ran away from home when he was 6 years old to go to a Bo Diddley concert. And to make his way back home, he had to steal some hubcaps to get bus fare, and he got caught, and he was arrested as a young boy. And they called his father, and his father beat the dog shit out of him. And it's a terrible, terrible story, but I'll never forget what my father went through to go see Bo Diddley, and I wanted to go see him too. And literally 30 minutes from the man's house, it came over the radio that he had passed away. Isn't that sad? But I was thinking about you in your last minutes, Bo Diddley. Anyway, that's my one little seeking autograph story. But Mandrake the Magician, very cool. This figure's very cool. I like NECA. A lot of people are against it. Now, when a lot of people were having a lot of the breaking issues of NECA, I think they had fixed a lot of that because I didn't come around until slightly after that. And I've had NECA figures in this room in 40-degree weather fall off the fucking shelf onto the ground, and I just knew that something was going to snap, and it didn't. So I don't know if that's something that they fixed or some people are unlucky. I don't know. But I do like NECA. Defenders of the Earth line, they all come with this weird space blaster, which has a little, splooge on it, which is kind of, I mean, effects are cool, right? Effects are cool. He comes with his cane. He comes with 3 separate hands. I never understood why we'd never, I don't know, man. 3 hands? We couldn't come up with one more thing for him to do. So we have a magic hand. You are healed. Devil be gone. We have that hand. This is obviously the cane hand, or possibly like, hey, you going my way, sailor? You going my way? Hey, hitching a ride. And this, I imagine, is the gun hand. The gun hand. There is also one more blast effect. This is definitely these blast effects are cool. They're cool. This one, you have a hard time. I have a couple figures that had this, right, like the Ming and whatever, and you can't use that. That makes them fall over. But this one's kind of cool. Excuse me. A little Copenhagen down the throat, boys. So that's pretty cool. That's not bad, huh? Let's do one quick thing. We will pop out a hand without breaking it, hopefully. Shout out to Dino, the Machino. Oh! I almost pulled a Dean right there. Man. Okay. The paint's flaking off. The paint's flaking off because it's as a trained machinist and gunsmith, the number one rule is remember, paint adds dimension, motherfuckers. Paint adds dimension. Mandrake. So yeah, pretty fucking cool, man. So we got some Mandrake action and a Lothar, custom Lothar. We're still waiting for a Fez. I don't know. Thimbles are too small. I don't know. I'm still looking around just for like a thing. A piece of felt and cardboard that are red. They don't really, I can't get them to sit right. So I'm trying to look for some, like a medicine bottle cap that then we can like spray paint burgundy red with like that velvet paint. And then it should, hopefully it'll look like a Fez. Lack used to wear a Fez for a very long time. I was in something called the J-Frame and Push Dagger Club. Shout out to Buckshot John Mady. And I still got my Fez somewhere. Mandrake, Lothar, Laxivrak. Motherfuckers. Anyway, it's hell being sober. Rolando, I appreciate you, brother. You're a good man. Everyone in the community, thank you very much for stopping by. Hey, it ain't over till it's over, baby. You know what I mean? Anyway, hey, we'll see you on down the trail. I'm gonna upload this one. Let's make some more fucking videos. Y'all let me know. Maybe if I got something else you want to see or you're curious. Nobody gives a shit about Power of the Force, but I love it. Here's an original carded Paplu. Here's an original carded Paplu. Does that turn anybody on? Woo! Here's the Ghost of Obi-Wan Black series that I hear now is like, you know, not easy to find. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. This has been Lax Sivrak, and next time you see me, I will also be Lax Sivrak. So...